Oh, we got a good one this weekend, guys. Live from Ontario, we got Sean Strickland bringing the belt, putting it up against Dricus du Plessis. My partners over at DraftKings Sportsbook have got one incredible deal for all new customers. Download the DraftKings app right now, sign up using the promo code Sonnen, and you can bet just $5 on any of this weekend's fights. You will get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Combine multiple bets together from the same fight, like number of rounds, method of victory, for an even bigger payout. Remember, DraftKings is the only place where you can bet same fight parlays. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. You can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy. So click on the link below and download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Fedor Emelianenko versus Tom Aspinall for the interim championship, UFC 300. Are you in or not? I just want to ask you that. Are you in? Listen, I have not had so much fun guessing a card in my life. As a matter of fact, I've never tried to guess a card in my life. When I hear people trying to guess a card, it always surprises me. Like, whoa, there's a market for that? There's a fan base that goes out there and tries to figure out what's going to happen? Why? Why don't you just call the matchmaker and ask him what's going to happen? I mean, right? Nobody is accessible in this sport as the people in this sport. Like the sport of MMA, it's unlike anything else. Dana White brought everybody in, flew everybody from all parts of the world, everybody under contract. He flew them to one location called a Fighter Summit. But one of the things that he did at a Fighter Summit is he set up a row of IT people with laptops and devices in the back of the room. He stands before all the fighters and explains to them there's something called Twitter. Nobody had ever heard of it. There's something called Twitter. And there's a basketball player named Shaquille O'Neal, and here's an interaction that Shaquille O'Neal had on Twitter. Nobody knows what they're talking about. Really, this was the example that was given. Dana said, before you leave this room, go see one of these IT people. All you got to do is go see them. They will take it from there. They will take your phone out of your hand. They will download what you need. They will set you up with something called a username and a password. I want all of you to do that. Oh, and by the way, whoever does this each month the most successfully, which means you gain the most followers, just the most, not you end up with the most, who gained the most, right? If I started with 5,000 and I end up with 10,000, but you started with 1,000, you end up with 9,000. Even though I got 10, you still win. Do you see the difference? But he explained this to us. $5,000. And it happened for every single month. For every single month, whichever one of you stops by the back like I'm telling you to do, and I flew you out here to do it, and gains the most, I'll send out $5,000 to. And he did. I won that twice. That's why I know. I mean, that game lasted for a while. You'd think that'd be a one-time or a two-time thing. No, man, he kept this. This was going for months and months. Years later, I'm still getting these. Very exciting. I'm just sharing that with you because if you juxtapose that with, say, the NFL is begging their players, please don't get on Twitter. And the people within the NFL were a bunch of dum-dums. They will go out and they will embarrass themselves. They will say things and they're not coherent. They're not putting sentences together. They're not flowing. This is just the truth. They're not literate. They're embarrassing. They're offensive. They're rude. Whatever it might be, the NFL didn't want it. They said, please don't go on social media. Basketball did the same thing. Please don't do this. And MMA was the exact opposite. And I only tell you that story, guys, to share with you why there is such a significant difference in accessibility. So when somebody is trying to guess a card, there is nobody more accessible than an MMA fighter. Why wouldn't you just ask them? And I never understood this. And now I do understand it. I don't want to know. If I called Sean Shelby right now, he would answer. I have a long relationship with Sean. And quite literally, if he was doing something, he would call me right back. And I could ask him, who are these matches going to be? But why haven't I done that? Because I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I had something similar. I was putting out guesses on Francis Ngannou for a period of time. And Francis's coach comes to me and says, hey, I hear your guesses, but I don't like them. Because you're off. Let me make you a deal. Call me and ask me, and I'll always tell you. In exchange, don't go guessing. They didn't like some of the guesses that I would take. That's fair. That's very reasonable. Why didn't I do? I never took him up on that. Do you want to know why? I had more fun guessing. I had more fun not knowing. Nate Diaz is one of those. I could call Nate right now, and he would level with me. Even if he swore me to secrecy, he would tell me. It's more fun to guess, isn't it? I've never understood why so many of you like to do this until this UFC 300 card is coming up. Now, I was talking to Tommy from the Bronx this morning, who is an incredible source. And Tommy's the one that told me, he said, Chael, I'm not telling you I think this is going to happen. I'm telling you there is scuttle around the fact that Fedor is coming to 300 to take on Aspinall for the interim championship. Now, I'm light on that. In fact, I laughed when Tommy told me that. And he said, but Chael, you must admit, that would definitely qualify for the wow factor, wouldn't it? I said, yeah, that would be wow. And he said, and you must admit, that's not one that anybody's going to guess. That's one that Dana could come out and tease us with. Yeah, oh yeah, it's all of those things. Now, you want to know what would be better? You want to know what would be better? Instead of putting Fedor with the young buck who's the current champion, you want to know what would be better? You put Fedor with Stipe. I mean, that is a fight where, whoa, that is a fight that would be very interesting. And you make it very clear, Fedor, if you beat him, you draw right into Jon Jones. Now, guys, none of these things are going to happen. We're not anywhere near the realm of reality right now. We're just having conversation. But for UFC 300, that's all that it is. And you know what? Tommy brings up a really good point. I mean, Biker Byron told me yesterday, right? Biker Byron had to remind me yesterday that Kayla Harrison's a free agent, and she is. That discussion's not out there. And people don't know that. And Kayla became a free agent 1 week after there wasn't a benefit to being a free agent, right? Because Bellator had been absorbed. Bellator had been absorbed by the PFL. So there wasn't a lot of room. There wasn't a lot to do. The UFC doesn't have a 55-pound division. I mean, not for nothing, but being a free agent when there's nowhere to go is the same as not being a free agent. I'm just letting you know that it's one of the reasons that was so quiet. That was like hearing a pin drop. But Biker Byron says that Kayla's coming over and she's going to fight Amanda Nunes. I mean, that's interesting. That's not the road we're going down. But Chael, who's in the know, Chael told you a week ago, and nobody was laughing then, it was going to be Khabib taking on Leon. Now, that is just not accurate. But we weren't laughing. It was interesting. It's got you listening. So Fedor versus Tom Aspinall. That's today's rumor. If there's any truth to that rumor, if there's anything there that's true, let's change the pieces just a little bit. And let's make it Fedor versus Stipe. And if I get you on Fedor and Aspinall, and if I get you off that right, and I get you to Fedor and Stipe, and I get you, yeah, you got something there. Once I get you and you agree, now we can do what we should have done all along. Let's just put Aspinall against Stipe.